Hello and welcome to another edition and another serving of Convention Tea. I'm totally not getting over con crud right now. It's definitely been a busy past couple of weeks as we went on our Pacific Northwest tour. So we kick things off at Kumori Con. I've heard good things about Kumori Con. I've had several friends from all over Southern California. Tell me about Kumori Con. In Southern California, yeah, we do have some autumn cons. We have Anime Pasadena, Anime Expo Chibi, San Diego Anime Con. But I wanted to go to a convention that was different. And I wanted to, just kind of just mix things up in my convention schedule. I mean, yeah, I am going to San Diego Anime Con. It's at the end of the month. However, I just wanted to just try something different. And I wanted to go to a convention that really seemed to be about community and really bringing in fan engagement. So I decided, you know what? 2025 is the year I'm a published author. So I might as well just deliver in some programming for Kumori Con. Again, I've heard good things about Kumori Con, and I decided, you know what? This is the year to do it. And if this is your first time tuning in to Convention Tea, just a quick intro. My name is, my VTuber persona is the Wisteria Witch, Nadeshko Gatsby. However, I've also been running Scarlet Rhapsody for the past 20 or so years. It started off as a podcasting slash radio drama organization where we are producing original content. But after attending my first Anime Expo solo in 2000, I wanted to build a website and build content where I talk about and review anime conventions. I wanted to share photos, I want to share my personal stories, and to this day, almost 25 years later, I still maintain that tradition because I really feel that having this kind of firsthand uh, fandom history recorded and documented is so important to our history and community build. So that's why I run Scholar Rhapsody. I do convention reports. I do podcasts such as these where we kind of take a look at the anime convention scene. Of course, I wish I could go to all of them. Unfortunately, I cannot. But if you like what we do, definitely support our Ko-Fi. Link in the description if you would like to just donate, and any amount is perfectly fine. Parking in LA costs quite a bit, so any help is greatly appreciated. And of course, I just want to just make a statement that this presentation is fully human made without the help of generative AI. All right, let's look into KumoriCon 2025. If I were to describe KumoriCon, it's very much like some of the earlier conventions of the early 2000s in terms of size. At no point I felt crowded or sardined in. However, there was a very engaged, very hearty mix of anime fans at Portland's premier anime convention. I really liked the vibes. I really liked what I saw. The audience tend to skew a little bit on the younger side. I did see some families bring in their kids, especially during Halloween, because this convention kicked off on October 31st. I also did see a lot of Gen Z folks, a lot of folks from a lot of Gen Z driven fandom. So I saw a lot of Twisted Wonderland fans. Even though, yeah, I'm an elder millennial that does like the characters, I'm not a huge fan of the gameplay. Um, I was just very okay, sometimes I feel like the oldest person in the room, but that's okay because Kiko Inoue was a guest of honor at KumoriCon 2025. And to be honest, I was stressed out with just other things leading up to convention because I do have a life outside the convention. And I didn't know she was a guest until I saw the programming. Wait, she's a guest? All right, I should probably just get this information earlier on. Probably that's probably on me. It's just so I could get some of my old Ranma DVDs with Kasumi of her to sign as. And also she was Lobelia in Sakura Taisen 3, and I do have a Lobelia plush that I could have her still sign a tag or just the back of her head. But I was amazed that a small convention, or rather a medium sized convention like Kumori Con, was able to get an A list Japanese seiyuu as a guest of honor. And I was just really thrilled. But more on that in a few. All right, before we begin our report on Kumori Con, I just wanted to let you know that you can get 15% off your entire order at Petals and Poisons. This is one of my favorite gothic stores where you can get various gothic trinkets such as necklaces, teacups, teas, roller perfume, and more. And if you would like to just purchase a gift for yourself or a gift for loved ones, you can use my code SPECTRE15 to get 15% off your total purchase. All right, let's just talk some Kumori Con. So I kind of had to like just be smart about packing because I had two back-to-back cons in the Pacific Northwest over this weekend. So I ended up bringing back like one of my old personal favorites, Yomiko Reedman. Yomiko Reedman, she is a character from Read or Die. This is a classic old school anime that's one of my personal favorites. And I was explaining to some of the Gen Z folks what Read or Die is. So I said, like, well, you can watch it on YouTube. It hasn't had a license rescue. And within the first 3 minutes, the White House blows up. I just thought I'd just spread that news in war torn Portland. Also, just coincidentally, I just decided, like, you know what? Let me bring Ranma. I like wearing my girl type Ranma from the second movie to the convention. So I worked hard on this costume. It's one of my favorites. So I ended up wearing girl type Ranma in this at this convention on Saturday. And of course, because I wanted to partake in Cosplay Wrestling Federation shenanigans, I brought back Sailor Mars, and Sailor Mars is staying in the Pacific Northwest. She's become such a fan favorite in the Pacific Northwest. Like, she's gonna stay within my rotation for quite some time. So look forward to seeing more Mars cosplay from me in the Pacific Northwest. I can only imagine what I'm gonna be bringing to SakuraCon next year. Maybe I'll stick with my internal costume. Maybe I'll go as Idol Mars. We'll see. All right, what were some of the popular fandoms presented at Kumori Con? So some of the popular fandoms included, for example, we had Don, a lot of Don cosplays. Very simple cosplay, school uniforms that you can easily get on Amazon. I also saw a really good, healthy mix of Uma Musume cosplay throughout the con. Tariffs didn't stop folks from getting Uma Musume cosplays. I do see these in Amazon. It looks like they're readily available to ship locally. So I did see like a lot of the uniforms. I did see a lot of the fancier outfits presented in the game, and of course, who could forget having K-pop Demon Hunters still going strong even after its release during the summer. K-pop Demon Hunters is here to stay and is not going away anytime soon. So I'm actually very happy that we're still getting a really great mix of K-pop Demon Hunter cosplays. And it ranges from Huntrix to Saja Boys to our favorite Tiger and Magpie. Also, I call this section the surprise fandoms. What fandoms was I surprised to see? I do see someone cosplaying as Taylor Swift from the Eras tour during the Red Era section. Again, I also have a version of this outfit that I use for SakuraCon for my idol persona. And then I also saw like Megan from My Little Pony. This Megan cosplayer here, they were looking for the My Little Pony cosplay meetup. I didn't know where it was because it seemed like a lot of people were having a hard time trying to find where cosplay meetups were because they seem so scattered and a little bit all over the place. Because I don't know where people are discussing cosplay meetups these days. Because I know people are using Discord for cosplay meetups, which can a little bit, I'll be honest, it can be a little bit chaotic after the whole League of Legends fiasco at Anime Expo. Um, Facebook groups aren't really a thing as much anymore, especially since a lot of Gen Z and a lot of people are leaving Facebook for obvious reasons. So I'm like just wondering like how do people organize meetups these days, you know? And of course, Chapel Roan. I love Chapel Roan. I wish I could have seen her live in Pasadena, but I'm kind of glad I didn't. If you look up just some of the info about people having to stand up during the performance. But I was just very happy. It's like, oh yeah, Chapel Roan. I love Chapel Roan. Happy to see my pop princesses represented and my childhood represented at Kumori Con. All right, before we just kind of go into the day by day, big shout out to my idol group, Angel Hearts. Angel Hearts, we are like one of the first idol groups in the convention scenes. We first debuted in the early 2000s with a cover of several Zone songs, going into Idolmaster, and now currently revisiting Para Para, Initial D, and then some. I highly recommend please subscribe to our channel, Angel Hearts. We could definitely use some love, especially in a world where there's a lot of Kai Guy idols. You know what? Let's just kind of bring back some love to the old school. So definitely follow us on YouTube, Angel Hearts. Follow us on Instagram. Share, like, and subscribe all of our videos because we'd love to get a lot more love out there. All right, let's talk about getting to Portland. So again, I re-debuted my brand new Yomiko Ribbon cosplay. And of course, I had to get up at 4 a.m. to catch an early morning flight to Portland. I decided to fly out on day one because I'm insane. Also, I just wanted to I actually can handle flying in on the first day. I've done this many a time with conventions, and also just getting the time off because I'll be doing two back-to-back conventions. And also, what we see here, this is me arriving at the Portland airport. Powell's Books, if you are not a book person, is regarded as one of the best indie bookstores in the world, or rather, in the country. This is I didn't get a chance to visit Powell's Books because I had so much going on when I was in Portland, but maybe for next con, maybe I could pay a visit to Powell's Books. And plus, I was on a budget too, and there were other bookstores in Seattle that I also wanted to check out. But this is definitely on my bucket list of bookstores to visit. So with that said, I was happy that they had a version of their bookstore at the airport, and I decided to peep in. And of course, I had to take a selfie in sort of in my Yomiko Ribbon cosplay. And of course, flying in during Halloween was a treat because we got to see a lot of the Portland airport therapy dogs just dressed in costume. This is adorable because I got to see again, so cute. I love how this black cat is riding on this golden retriever here. I think it's a golden retriever. I'm not very versed on dog breeds, so y'all will have to help me out. And of course, as I was getting my bags, I ran into a Portland cryptid. Meet the Sasquatch people. So he was just running around and just just wandering around Portland Airport. All right, so I took an Uber from Portland Airport. Their Uber section was actually easy to just navigate, and and there was already some Ubers just waiting there, just waiting for someone for a pickup. So okay, just take me to downtown Portland, take me to the Portland Convention Center. I was staying over at the Quality Inn, which was a very interesting experience. I was able to get into my room no problem. And here's a photo of war-torn Portland. As you can see, we got some cosplayers just crossing the street. It's interesting because the vibes of Portland, at least this side of Portland, I was expecting normies to just embrace our weirdness because Portland has that reputation of keeping Portland weird. I mean, our show for Cosplay Wrestling Federation is called Weird Mageddon. And we actually had for the first time in a while, we've had just some people just drive by over oh my god, look the freaks. And we had just some Gen Alpha middle school kids just just give us some slack. And I'm okay, you punks, who do I have to teach a lesson to? Of course, as I just was walking in on Halloween, this was the first group of costumers that I checked out. I love their Smash Brothers or Nintendo Universe cosplays here. So yeah, just check these folks out. And also, as I was picking up my badge, I ended up just browsing around signage. I really like the Kumori Con mascot. I like the ghost cat. I don't know if the ghost cat is an exclusive for this year because of Halloween weekend, but ooh, Ghost Nico, I like this. However, I do have a critique. The maps here, you had to just rotate your head because I'm cosplay repair. Can you just invert that? And also, there's a typo in Gunpla Lounge. It's Gunpla Lounge. I also appreciated the cosplay is not consent sign over here. I also like the subtle jab at you know who because this is one of those if you know you know. And I'm not going to have to explain it. I'm just going to say if you have 11 hours, there's a specific video about this, what might be part of this layered kind of meaning here. But I do appreciate um, if that was the intention. I do appreciate the messaging here. But of course, attire is not consent. We all should know that by now. Ghost Nico Cop. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I just sort of, oh yeah. I repeat this image here too. But yeah, just getting my badge wasn't an issue. Just this is a photo of me, my press badge. I also did panels too. I did a total of three plant panels plus Cosplay Wrestling Federation. So the thing about Kumori Con is they don't comp badges. You can either apply it to credit for your badge and you pay the difference, or you take what you have and you can also cash it in for swag in the Kumori prize room. It's kind of like the Chuck E. Cheese. Again, it's kind of like Anime Los Angeles where they have like a prize room. If you have like X amount of tickets, in this case, if you have X amount of Kumori bucks, you could like just claim like a prize that would amount to that number of tickets or KumuCon bucks. So I ended up just getting a Tanjiro figure. There wasn't really much that I was really looking for there. A lot of the content, a lot of the things they had there were shown in, and I had like one of like the larger ticket pools because I had like about $20 in Kumo bucks. And I thought like, oh, maybe I could like redeem this at the merch booth because the merch booth had a lot of really cool stuff. Like even like a Neko Ida bag. Like I would have loved to have gotten an Ida bag with the KumoCon bucks. But alas, I decided just buying a present for a friend of mine. Ended up getting them a Tanjiro figure. I also like that you can add stickers, pronoun stickers, to your badge. I didn't have the pronoun stickers just yet for my badge, but I ended up putting she, they for the pronoun stickers for my badge. Um, but I do appreciate that cons are, at least in the Pacific Northwest, are starting to integrate putting the pronouns stickers on the badge rather than like putting it as a ribbon, because if it's a ribbon, sometimes it can be easily lost because people like to collect ribbons. Sometimes if they have a lot of ribbons, they tend to just roll it up. So sometimes it's just hard to see the pronoun stickers. But if it's like smack dab, like right on the badge itself, that's actually fairly helpful for people to see what your pronouns are. And I do like there is like that blank space there between the press insignia and the mascot gal over there where you can put the sticker without it like messing up the design or the aesthetic of the badge. All right, so I decided to just kind of wander in first into the Gunpla room. So I really like how they had like not only you could buy and build Gunpla, but you could also look at some Gunpla designs. They kind of had like a Gunpla showroom here. You can kind of see this Sharazaku with a couple with some leathering over here. And then I also, again, I decided to check out the merch booth. KumoCon goes really hard with their merch. I really appreciate that they have like various stickers of their Neko mascot. I do appreciate, again, they had Ida bags. Of course, they had shirts. They had lanyards, and the lanyards are really cute too. You can get stickers, you can get pins. Again, like I wanted to like just pick up some stuff, but I was still saving up for Geek Girl Con because again, doing two cons in one weekend, like, but I actually do appreciate like the merch that was presented here, and I like the variety of the merch. Also on Friday, I decided to just peruse around the dealer's hall. Of course, like some of the one of the things you can get obviously at the hall are plushes. So I like this collection of Pokemon plushes here. And you also see next door they have like people who are selling like the foam weapons. And if you look closely, you can also see the Granny Kitty from Dan to Dan. Of course, because it's Halloween, people were also going all out with Halloween decorations within their dealer's hall booths. So I also appreciate seeing the giant skeleton that was just towering over the vendor hall. Also, Kumocon combines their artist alley and the vendors all into one place. At no point I felt squeezed in. It was still really easy to navigate. They also call it the marketplace because it combines both the vendor hall, the vendors, artists, and you also have some food people too. And just more photos of the marketplace. You got wall scrolls here. I'm also very happy for the Rama representation in the wall scrolls. And I also like how you have musicians just doing busking at Kumori Con. So you have this guy here on the looks like a flute. I'm not clarinet maybe. One of you music people, just shout it out in the comments. And also down the road, we also had someone playing the saxophone. So I also like the fact that KumoCon just had like just a lot of really cool things even happening outside the convention. And as you can see here, definitely KumoCon is a ribbon con. I didn't know this going in because I don't know which cons are like the ribbon cons. So I just kind of feel ribbon cons just tend to be like, okay, Soccer Con is a ribbon con. Emerald City Comic Con, not so much a ribbon con because the badges tend to be on the smaller side. ALA definitely a ribbon con, but I'm really happy to see that this tradition from sci-fi, from science fiction conventions, um, are like are being like adapted into the anime scene, especially by young people. And speaking of which, I need to get my ALA ribbons, and I need to figure out what ribbons I'm purchasing. All right, so thanks to Komi, the folks in the person in the clarinet playing the clarinet is from a video game called Hollow Knight. Also, I love the presence of Uma Musume. I even got a ribbon that says I ran um, the Kumori Con show or the Kumo show. And I didn't check out the panel because I had something also going on at the same time. Yeah, it was at the same time as the Utena panel. More on that later, but I also appreciate the presence of Uma Musume cosplayers because there was a lot of Uma Musume cosplayers. I don't have any photos of the Utena panel, but I did peek into. I wanted to attend the Utena panel because Utena, the Adolescence of Magical Girls. I've been doing a Utena rewatch, and I'm also running a Magical Girl panel on the very next weekend at Geek Girl Con. So I just wanted to get their perspective, and I really feel there's a lot of multiple reads of Utena. People get something different from it, and I want to hear the panelists' perspective. However, the panelists never showed up to the Utena panel, so it was just a bunch of us geriatric millennials and some of us Gen Z in the room who are like, we want to like talk about Utena. So we have a room full of Utena people, and we just decided to just take over the panel room and just create a roundtable discussion of Utena. And we were just talking about like some hot topics in Utena, such as Ruka did nothing wrong, Sayanji did nothing wrong. So we just like had like just a lot of talk about that, and also Utena's influence on other media. So we were talking about Steven Universe. I was talking about how Star Butterfly's mentor, her battle outfit looks a lot like Utena's uniform. So we were just talking about that like for like an hour. Just you have a room full of an Utena enthusiast. You have like a room full of geriatric millennials who grew up with shoujo all in one room, and it was fantastic. I just love this vibe. Even though the panelists never showed up, which was unfortunate, we ended up just taking over and just doing our own thing. And that's the thing I miss about anime conventions. And I just really like that it kept its spirit here. And this is why, in my opinion, I think fan submitted content and fan submitted panels are just so important. Because, excuse me, because it creates that community in there. And even if the panelist doesn't show up, you still have people who are interested in the content and are willing to discuss the content. All right. Also, I decided to wander around the video game room, which was this huge hall. They had some arcade stuff. They had Just Dance. They had some console gaming. So I was just kind of like just glancing around. I would have gone for Just Dance, but I was kind of looking for Dance Dance Revolution. I was looking for Para Para because those are just my games. I also appreciate seeing the Toho shrine over here. We also had a Snorlax just passed out in the console section of the gaming room. And also, I performed my panel. I did my Y2K era. I believe it was a cosplay and conventions panel because I was doing a two-parter of this one. So I was doing the cosplay and conventions part of in my Y2K era. I was supposed to have a couple friends join me for it, but they were feeling really out of it by the time it was on. It was 9 p.m. I've been up since 4 a.m. and I was just powering through that panel. Unfortunately, programming didn't have any water bottles because I thought programming was giving out water bottles because I saw the cosplay judges just kind of hoarding some water bottles. Like, hey, do you guys can spare like an extra water bottle here? Because I had to run a panel and I am really dry right now, and the water fountain is not gonna cut it. So I ended up just checking it out. Well, I just ended up just kind of luckily I was like, okay, I'll just luckily I was able to have someone just get me a water bottle so I can just hydrate right before my panel. Because again, I was up since 4 a.m. with my flight. Of course, I had the capacity to do this. Like, all right, if I was doing this with someone I was traveling with, probably not. But I decided to be adventurous. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be up since up and I'm gonna be up from 4 a.m. to whenever, and I'm gonna do this 9 p.m. panel. So I did my panel, and I had a really good turnout for my 9 p.m. Y2K cosplay and conventions panel, and that was a lot of fun to do. Gave away some bookmarks. Was able to just really engage the audience to just talk about like what was your first convention, because anytime I do this solo, I like to engage the audience. I like to have them partake in audience discussion, which again, I really want to make. Anytime I do a Y2K panel, I really want to foster that old school community. I really want to create that space for us to be there to just meet like just other like-minded folks. Again, really fostering community within an anime convention scene, because unfortunately I don't really get that kind of opportunity a lot here in Southern California. But a convention like Kumori Con, which actually allows and accepts fan submitted content, is just so meaningful for these kind of spaces, and to create these spaces for people to meet each other and to also discuss about how it was like back in the day. So yeah, Friday I also met some J fashion enthusiasts right here. By the time it was Friday, by the time I did my panel, I ended up just wearing just low key gyaru. I was wearing my lavender themed gyaru outfit. No photos. No wait, no wait. No, I was wearing my Magical Girl Swifty gyaru outfit, which is just a whole pink thing. And of course, it wouldn't be Halloween without ending it with Mothman here. I appreciate seeing cryptid cosplay. I appreciate seeing the Mothman here. Mothman Prophecies. If you've seen that movie, that scared me as a kid. I actually like couldn't sleep at night when I saw the Mothman Prophecies. But what I do like about KumoriCon is taking place during Halloween. People were giving away candy. People were giving away trinkets. I was giving away bookmarks just to promote my book and to promote Fancy Fridays. But I do appreciate just all the free candy I got. I got some free keychains from people. I got free fidget toys. It was just a lot of fun, just kind of like really bringing in Halloween to KumoriCon. And again, I just love this aspect of the KumoCon community. All right, before we move forward to Saturday, I would like to give a shout out to Cosplay Wrestling Federation. Cosplay Wrestling Federation is the best in cosplay sports entertainment. Cosplay Wrestling Federation is a cosplay comedy show that has been going on for about 10 years. And basically, cosplays go up on the stage, tell them why they deserve to win whatever belt they're going for, and the audience cheers or boos them, and a lot of fun is to be had. Go check them out on YouTube. We have a show coming up in San Diego this coming weekend, and tell your convention to invite us to perform, because we would love to do more conventions as Cosplay Wrestling Federation. It's such a fun show. It's been getting a lot of traction for the past 10 years, but Cosplay Wrestling Federation would not be what it is without your support. So tell your local convention that you want to see us there. All right, so on Saturday, I went to Otaku Pin Trading, and I ended up bringing in some bookmarks because people were just trading whatever, was just not necessarily pins. So I just peek in, just kind of see what was all about, and I ended up getting a pin, not a pin, because I was able to identify the character among the keychains they were giving away. It was Korobara from Yu Yu Hakusho. Because they were just trying to get rid of it, they just like, hey, do you want this? Like, sure. So I ended up just giving it out to giving that Korobara keychain to a friend of mine. Like, yeah, Yu Yu Hakusho? Like, yeah, I do. I used to watch that show when the Philippines called it Ghost Fighter, and Yusuke was named Eugene, and Kurama's name was Dennis. So of course, I just wandered around Artist Alley for a little bit. But before I talk about Artist Alley, I don't quite have a photo of it here because I didn't allow for photos at her panel. Right after, right after, oh yeah, I did a Saturday morning panel. Not photoed here, but I could talk about my Saturday morning panel, which was Y2K era, where I talked about anime and fandom specifically, not so much the cosplay convention side, but I did briefly touch on the cosplay convention side in case if people missed it. So Saturday morning, I run my panel in my Y2K era, which focused more on anime. We had a really good turnout, for like I believe it was a 10 a.m. panel. Yes, it was a 10 a.m. panel. So people were showing up early morning for this, and even my friend Trish was just counting. She's like, "Yeah, yeah, like about anytime you have like around 30 to 40 people in your panel, like, ooh, nice." So I talked about fandom history again, which I enjoy doing. I love yapping about fandom history. So ended up running that panel, and I met like one of the guest relations from Sakura Con, and we just ended up just going directly to the Kiko Inoue panel. Again, I don't have any photos because she requested no photos at her panel, but I was able to get a front row seat for her panel. The line was relatively short, but because, again, a lot of this convention is very much populated by Gen Z who might not be familiar with her body of work, because she's best known for Belle Dandy in from All My Goddess, Kasumi and Rama, among other roles. Like she even had like a bit role as a Sailor Moon villain, Aluminum Siren, in Sailor Moon Sailor Stars. So when the Iron Mouse party is over, it's all about Aluminum Siren. I ended up watching her panel. It was called Kiko Inoue Forever 17 because she plays a lot of young characters. She also talked about her daughter, who's currently the voice of Anne Shirley in the Anne of Green Gables anime that just came out this year. I still need to finish that anime because I love Ella Montgomery. I used to watch Anne of Avonlea when Disney Channel used to marathon the Anne of Green Gables miniseries with Megan Follows. That was just like one of my favorite things like as a kid. So I did have a chance to ask her questions because her panel wasn't terribly full. You could just walk up to the mic and just ask her a question. So the question I asked her, like, well, out of all your roles you have, like a ton of them, like, who would you say are you most like? And she answered, I am most like Kasumi, but you know what? I'm also Lady Demetresu from Resident Evil Village from time to time. It amused me because a couple days before, I kind of accidentally Resident Evil bounded. Is that even a thing? Resident Evil bounding, like Disney bounding? I was wearing a white dress and a big black floopy hat at a Halloween haunt at Knott's Berry Farm, and a lot of the ghouls thought I was bounding as Lady D from Resident Evil. Like, it's not my intention, but okay, I will start a thing called Resident Evil bounding. I don't know. I mean, if I wanted to, I could also have quote unquote bounded as Ada Wong in part two. I do have a lot of red. But anyway, I also asked Inoue, all right, so since you're a mom now, what are some anime that you enjoy with your daughter? And she's like, yeah, Spy Family is great for the whole family. And she also has a role in Spy Family. She plays the mother of Desmond, and I did see her performance in it, and like, yeah, that's definitely Belle Dandy, as the mother. So it was just a treat just seeing Kasumi, the voice actors for Kasumi, both versions, in the present, and then also us just throwing hand hearts back at each other because I was in the front row. That was just really really sweet, and it was just such like a personal experience that I would say is like my highlight of Kumori Con. I didn't know she was gonna be a guest. Unfortunately, like her line for autographs was really long, and I was like just searching through Artist Alley, like someone has got to have a print of Lady D from Resident Evil because I just needed to get her to sign something. Worst case scenario, I wanted her to sign my badge, but the line was already filled, just like that, on each day. It's like, okay, never mind. Yeah, I also walked around to some of the fan tables. So there's a section like there where you can like just talk to local conventions. Sakura Con had a table, And there was also a ball joint doll event in Portland. I'm so out of the loop when it comes to ball joint dolls. Like I know the Southern California, there's a community out here that I've been meaning to do events with, but I just keep forgetting to like to see when their events are. But I do appreciate seeing like, hey, people are still into ball joint dolls. I probably should bring my Your Forger at these events, or probably get an outfit for Your Forger. Um, but yeah, I'm just again just so appreciative of seeing ball joint dolls over here. Of course, it's kind of like just reviewing just some of the cosplays I've seen and just some of the convention vibes. I really like how Kumori Con just kind of like just really leans into their silly and fun vibe. What I liked about Kumori Con is like everyone was just really there for to have fun. I didn't really get any vibes of like any clout chasing. And people were very friendly, and that is just so new to me because I'm just so not used to people just kind of just having striking a conversation with like a random person. I miss this vibe from anime conventions, because a lot of times it'll be like, oh honey, your lipstick is kind of smushed, and that's about it. That's the kind of conversations like in Southern California, like hey honey, you might want to just watch your blah blah blah, or like, okay, it's just more like that kind of thing. But I just, again, I just really like the vibes up here. And I just wanted to show like just the main, like the photo, a photo of just kind of like the main. Every convention kind of has like a town square kind of area, and I would identify this zone as the Kumoricon Town Square, because this is where you can access both main events. You could also access the video gaming room. You can also access the dealer's hall, info booth. There was also the rows of tables of upcoming conventions, and you could also find the panel rooms. What I like about the Kumoricon location with the Oregon Convention Center is everything is all in one place. It's very easy to navigate once you get your bearings in. Of course, there are other events on the other side of the convention center, such as karaoke, um, Maid Cafe, the Gunpla Room, the Quiet Room, AMV showings. But this is like a really good place to just kind of like just find people and to meet up with people. Of course, I ran into these Uma Musume folks as I was just wandering to the other side of the convention center. So again, a huge like community for Uma Musume, and that makes me like, okay, now that I've seen like just so many Uma Musume cosplays, I'm just gonna wear Zeno Rob Roy at my next convention because the summer uniforms are relatively inexpensive. It's like $30. So yeah, next paycheck, I'm making Zeno Rob Roy happen. And I'm also going to be just bringing books with me at conventions. So just other Saturday cosplays. So I was very happy to see American Girl cosplay. Like Samantha is like one of my dream costumes, and Felicity is also one of my dream costumes too. I actually recognize the pink outfit there because I actually do have that pink outfit. Um, Maybe for Emerald City Comic Con, I might wear Felicity's birthday outfit, because like yeah, have pink, have a ton of that salmon pink fabric. I it's relatively easy to make a mob cap. I've been known to cosplay as redhead characters, and that apron is super easy to do. Or I might modify a colonial outfit that I previously had finished up and turn that into her meat outfit. It'd be funny if I would cosplay as Felicity and pose with Uma Musume cosplays, because Felicity was like the horse girl of American Girl. Of course, I'm very happy to see Char Aznable cosplayer. Seeing old school Gundam makes me happy. I was even telling like the Gunpla people, they're like, oh dang, had I known, I would have brought Sailor Moss, because Sailor Moss is like one of my go-to costumes. I don't know what these folks are costuming from, but I just think they look cute. But if anyone knows what these folks are costuming as, drop it in the comments. I would love to know. I also like the fact that KomoriCon was like one of the more accessible conventions I've attended. Not only they have quiet rooms, but I felt that it was very widely acceptable to see people like using mobility devices. And again, with people giving away like STEM toys, I thought that was very kind to people who need the STEM toys. And I also like the fact of seeing like bathrooms that were labeled as all access. Like, wow, like I live in California and you think that like we'd be very forward with our convention scene, but we're really not. So, of course, being a Halloween weekend, I also like they had like a horror gathering. So you can see a mix of Resident Evil, Scream, again, just a lot of other folks here too. And again, just kind of going back to the central hall of the main meeting zone, or rather the town square of Kumori Con. You can see a Shinji in the middle of the town square here in his famous chair, and it's not again. Uma Musume was a thing, like a huge thing at Kumori Con. I ended up playing Anime Taboo because my friends were hosting it. Okay, I'm like, I've never played Taboo before, but it always looked pretty cool. So, for those of you who don't know the game Taboo, basically is you'll be given a name of something. So, in this case, Anime Taboo. Let's say you're given the category. The category is read or die. However, your partner, your teammates would have to guess read or die, but you can't use certain words. So you can't use, for example, you can't use book, Yomiko Reedman, um, Yuri, implied Yuri, things like that. So I would have to say something like, the White House blows up in the first 2 minutes, waifu, glasses girl, shops her books. Oh, that would like take me out because I said books. So I would have to go to the next one. So anime taboo is the trick to anime taboo is if you know someone in your team that likes what it likes, you can also embarrass them. It's like, oh, it's an anime you hate, or like, hey, that anime you're hating on last night, it's this one. So the hence why it's named taboo because you can also out someone's secrets, um, if you know the person and they have an association with the thing. But that's the best way I can describe it. It's better to be best described if you see someone actually doing it. We entered in as Neko World Order, me and some of my Katsui Wrestling Federation buddies. Um, However, we weren't going in to win because we just want to have fun, you know. But we ended up taking first place, and we had to do a tiebreaker. But we ended up winning, and we ended up winning like a My Hero Academia board game, and we gave it to like the person who joined us. Like, hey, I don't necessarily have a use for My Hero Academia card game. Plus, my suitcase is already full as is. So, yeah, new person who's joining us. You're gonna have to take the grand prize with you home. But everyone was there was friendly. I liked the vibes. This had like a nearly full room, and it was a lot of fun. And I really want to do this next time again. So I also watched Masquerade. I haven't seen a masquerade or a cosplay contest in years. I don't have photos because I was sitting far in the back because I was able to just get some last minute seats. Masquerade was full. Masquerade, like people were lining up for it, and I had to go in the standby lines. Like, okay, like I can still see the show early on because people were just kind of leaving early on. So sad. But some highlights included a Sailor Moon transformation sequence where she went from her pajamas to her actual sailor outfit, and some others included Fire Emblem. We had Death Note. Masquerade is kind of a blur in my mind, but I do remember the owl from Animal Crossing, and they had like movable ears, and I thought that was really cute too. So Masquerade, I still had a great time watching it. They had it in three different categories: beginner, intermediate, and master's level. And yeah, the people like in all categories, it was a very competitive masquerade. I mean, there wasn't one masquerade skit or an act that were like, sigh. But I really, again, I just love how masquerades and cosplay contests have really upped their game, and you can really just tell the difference between a cosplay contest that is hosted and ran by influencers versus folks who've done masquerades and have been a part of this part of the cosplay scene for the past couple years, and you can definitely see the quality of entries, the quality of performers on there, and that was just something I just really appreciated seeing up there. Again, it was a huge blur, but I also found it interesting that there was two audience choice awards, audience choice for performance and audience choice for craftsmanship. I don't know if it was appropriate for like to have a craftsmanship category for the audience, because as someone who does judge craftsmanship, who's been on both sides of like judging and being judged, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it was a wise choice to give audience decision for audience craftsmanship judge, but choice, but maybe two performance types, like audience favorites or like audience honorable mention, something like that. There was a lot of nightlife at Kumori Con, so my buddy here, Bryce, as Tuxedo Mask, entered in Anime Jeopardy, which is fairly self explanatory. And then I also checked out the cosplay ball. I was still dressed up as Ranma. Like, I didn't really have any intention of checking out the ball, but I just walk in, and then I ran into my friends. A lot of us from Cosplay Wrestling Federation decided to check out the ball. Like, my friends from Persona, they ended up like doing formal fancy versions of Persona cosplayers, and it was just a lot of it was just a lot of fun. I didn't really have anyone. Just didn't really intended to like to dance with anyone. I was just kind of just dancing in a circle with friends, or just kind of like just practicing my ballroom moves because it's just been a hot minute. But this was a lot of fun to attend, and I'm just really glad that I did. And to wind things down, there was a Komori Con 21 Plus lounge right across the street. I don't really drink that much, but usually if I'm traveling and if I just want to wind down the day, I had their Komori Con themed. It was like a rum kind of themed drink. I didn't take any selfies with me because my phone was about to die. Otherwise, I would have remembered what the drink was. But it was very fruity, a lot of rum. That's usually how I prefer my drinks. But it was kind of fun, just kind of like just hanging out here, just unwinding the night before going back to my hotel room to prepare for Cosplay Wrestling Federation the very next day. But before we go on to our final day, Sunday, Convention Tea is brought to you by Yimax Sweaters. Yimax Sweaters is one of my favorite cozy clothing wear. You can use my code YIMAC-Dame Asnable to get yourself 40% off your next order. Yimax sweater, again, they have like vintage style sweaters, cozy long line sweaters that you can wear at home. I love the variety of prints on here. I'm planning to maybe get more like leopard print for like Gyaru, this and that. But again, a variety of things you can find here over at UMAC. It's again one of my favorite places to shop, and hope you find something for you or a present for a friend on ymacsweater.com. So I decided to just grab some coffee in the morning. I didn't really like the coffee I had at the hotel because I did the continental breakfast and I just wasn't a fan. So like, you know what? Let me get a fancy latte over at the Hyatt across the street. So I ended up getting their maple pumpkin spice latte, which was pretty decent because I just needed a caffeine boost before my Sailor Moon panel. So my Sailor Moon panel, I brought it back after 6 years of not doing the panel, maybe even more. I used to run a panel called Moon Prism Pop Tarts, which is about the history of Sailor Moon's localization into the US. And basically, I had a really good turnout of a lot of Moonies who just kind of again grew up in the 90s and early 2000s with Sailor Moon. Again, creating that community space and just also engaging the audience. Like, yeah, what was your first encounter with Sailor Moon? How did you first watch it? What made you get into Sailor Moon? Just kind of really building that community space because again, part of the reason why I like running panels is to like, hey, here's a topic. Everyone who likes this topic, let's all meet in this space and discuss, make new friends, and so forth. So that's again one of the reasons why I just find the value of like fan panels at these conventions because I'm very passionate about conventions keeping and routinely keeping a fan submitted content because where I live in Southern California, there's not a lot of them left. So, panel went well. Had a really great turnout for I think it was a 9 a.m. panel or a 10 a.m. It was in the morning, if I remember correctly. And of course, just kind of like just checking out just different cosplays. I did see a good number of Love Live cosplays, and I told them, like, yeah, I thought about cosplaying as Yohane at this con. I'm like, oh, yeah, you should have. So I probably should cosplay as Yohane, maybe. Of course, seeing a free reign cosplayer, I love the details on this free reign cosplayer. I love her choice of trim. I just also just love the details of just adding like floral appliques to the outfits. So it was pretty neat. And of course, the horror vibes didn't end on Sunday. We had Sadako just come out on All Souls Day. Of course, just more cosplays. There's my buddy Amanda. She's in one of my Kai idol buddies, and she is cosplaying as, or rather, she is kind of cost bounding as Homura from, from Madoka. And I guess there was like official like Madoka like Lolita outfits. So I just appreciate just kind of seeing like Lolita bounding outfits here. Of course, just my friends just checking out Kase Wrestling Federation. I love how this photo just turned out of Kase Wrestling Federation. And this is Punk England just kind of like dissing Tuxedo Mask. Like, hey, Tuxedo Mask, like this isn't Parliament. Why are you so fancy? So Weird Mageddon is our show in Portland. I entered in as Sailor Mars, and I was ready to go up against Edelgard. I was ready to give her like, yeah, I'm the girl boss, and you're just a fascist. Fire Emblem, I don't care about your fire powers because, hi, I had like 5 seasons to level up my fire ability, and what? Yeah, like what? 1 game? What's up with that? So, Homura took the champion, a ship for the Cherry Tempest belt, and I will be facing Homura at SakuraCon next year. I am looking forward to that. And of course, Homura took the Cherry Tempest belt to confront some of these street preachers right across the street. After Kase Wrestling Federation, I was pretty much ready to wind down the convention, and I love running into this Box Gundam cosplayer. We need to see more Box Gundam cosplays, please. Yeah, so Sunday I ended up just kind of joining my friends watching the last of the winners of the AMV contest. I haven't seen like a winners roundup of an AMV contest in ages, like not since like Anime Boston 2024. Some of the highlights of this included there was a really good Dan to Dan one, and there was a really good Gunbuster one. It was done to a musical about it was like a song about American Airlines or like wanting to be a pilot. I'm like, I need to look this up because this actually sounds really interesting. And I thought it was just a very well done contest. I love like the videos I watch. Everyone's fairly entertained. A lot of dramatic videos this year. I was like, hey, don't make me cry. You're glad that I'm wearing casual clothes right now. You're glad I'm just wearing my casual lavender wisteria outfit right now because I can mess up my eye makeup right now. But a lot of dramatic videos just really seem to be the top contenders of the year. However, I wasn't quite sure about Best of Show. It went to a Death Note AMV where it looked like Light was writing fan fiction about Harry Potter, and I thought it was gonna lean more into the whole Hermione thing that's kind of going on in book world. Like, no, it's Harry / Draco. I don't know like how I feel about this. I like the editing. I liked everything from a technical standpoint, but at the same time, this is not so much a hot take, but I kind of feel that the world can do without Harry Potter material. But that's just me personally. All right, so yeah, Sunday, I took the train up to Seattle, which was my next stop. Luckily, they gave me an early train up to Seattle because originally I was supposed to take a later train. Like, hey, do you want just to get on the train that's boarding right now? We can there's definitely room, and we can also, yeah, we could take your luggage. Like, sure, I'll take the next train up to Seattle. 3 hours later, and reading King Foretold by J.C. Lee, I was in Seattle, and my ride was waiting for me outside of the King Street station. I wish I could have seen like the foliage because I heard like it's really nice to like take the train up from Portland to Seattle because you can see all the fall foliage. But by this time, because of the time change, it was super dark outside. It's like, I'll just read a book. And before we go into our final thoughts, do check out my book, The Fangirl Diaries, Anime Fandom at the Turn of the Millennium. You can get this at any major bookseller. Link in bio, link in description to order your copy today. And final thoughts on Kumori Con. This is my first Kumori Con. Everyone I met at this convention was super friendly. I love this whole community out here. I would definitely come back again. I love running panels at this convention. I really feel that there is like a huge panel community out here, and I want to continue to support those types of communities out here in Portland. I know it's kind of sounds strange that I have to fly, I had to travel to like build communities within like old school anime fandom, within like, hey, millennial anime girlies, where are you at? But things like having an impromptu Utena roundtable, things like just running into people and just having conversations about K-pop demon hunters, conversations about getting into Uma Musume cosplay. I mean, it's because of this convention I decided to log into Uma Musume again. And because of this convention, I just had like such a great time running panels. Kiko Inoue was just a big surprise for me, but that's all on me because I didn't even look at the guest list because I was just so stressed with other life stuff prior to convention. It was worth it to fly up at 4 a.m. It was the cheapest flight that I can get up to Portland to make it to this convention. I probably would do that again and run a 9 p.m. panel. So as long as I have a cozy hotel room to just kind of crash at. I think just my only feedback for this convention is like have bottles of water ready for panelists because that would be nice. But otherwise, good convention, good vibes, a lot of variety in programming. I love seeing the variety of cosplayers because I think I only ran into like one like snooty cosplayer, but that was just about it. But what made up for it was everyone was super friendly. I like the variety of programming. There was always something going on like every hour of hour of Kumori Con, and I just had a great time. And I also really appreciate that Kumori Con really leans into the whole weird theme. I love how they have like ghost cats as like their main mascots. Even the staff people I interacted with, they were just super nice, and I would love to just help you guys out again next year too. Yeah, like I was just telling convention, like, hey, if you just need someone to like just yap about fandom history and just old school anime, that whole like scene back then, I'm more than happy to bring that to Kumori Con. And with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another helping of convention tea. Again, Kumori Con, thank you so much, and thank you so much for like being like one of the most inclusive conventions I've ever attended because I had such a great time. Had a great time with friends, had a great time performing at Cosplay Wrestling Federation, had a great time running panels, and a great time just kind of just interacting with just everyone. I mean, top tier cosplay contest and just top tier vibes all around. Definitely would recommend. All right, with that said, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Convention Tea. Definitely check us out on our socials, link in the descriptions. You can follow me on Instagram, but while you're here on YouTube, please like and subscribe to Scarlet Rhapsody Convention Tea. We have videos on Fans View Fridays, which look back at some old conventions in the 2000s. I know it's on hiatus because my Fridays have been super busy, and for the past couple weeks, I just kind of been just getting over laryngitis and whatnot because I want to just make sure my voice is rested enough to run convention tea because it takes a lot of my voice power to do it, and I will not do that with AI. And with that said, definitely check out my book, The Fangirl Diaries, available at major retailers. Again, link in the description if you want to buy a signed copy, or if you just want to I can just get on Amazon. More than happy to sign your copy of my book if I'm at a convention, and you can get a free print and a free bookmark for me if you show proof of purchase that you bought a copy of my book. And with that said, thank you so much again, and I will see you at the con.